He's a cultural phenomenon. He's probably very temperamental, very hot and cold.
Kyle came in and says, Alex, I got to ask, when I visit DSP Gaming's Twitter, I mean X, it says you're following him. Are you a fan of DarkSydePhil? And have you heard of the incident?
Are you kidding? I'm the biggest DSP fan, and Wings of Redemption is my real. And I don't even play video games, and I love DSP. Well, of course, I found both DSP and Wings of Redemption. I'm sure you're familiar with Wings too. Are you familiar with Wings? Yeah. Well, I found them both because they've been on the internet for forever from like hate sites. But then I kind of the opinion, because I have people that do hate content about me. Like I'll make a video, then they have to react to everything I do. I like to think of the people that do that are super fans. Like they might disagree with you, but really if they're watching all your content, editing and commenting, like you are a fan. It's kind of like in the Marvel verse. What's the girl we hate so much from Miss Marvel? What's that actress's name? Yeah, like we hate Brie Larson, but we almost kind of unironically like Brie Larson too in a weird way, because we make fun of her so much. It's kind of like AOC. I made fun of her so much, I kind of unironically like her now. It's weird. And so all these people that would do that to DSP, DarkSydePhil, I still don't really watch DarkSydePhil's content, but I'll go look at his channel. I do like to watch the reaction channels of him, but I like DarkSydePhil. I know he's crazy. I know he kind of rips off his fans. He begs for super chats, his fake super chats, like won't invest in his streaming, all this stuff, all these bad things about him. I kind of like him because of those bad things. And that's the same with Wings of Redemption. But I'm friends with Keemstar, Daniel Keem, and he's friends with Wings, and he got Wings to do a boxing match, and I was like, what is it like? Because Wings is so hard to deal with. He had a successful podcast with Painkiller already and didn't want to go on a trip with them, and basically lost that podcast. And now if he was still on it, he would be making the money that he like so desperately wants. So I know that he's toxic to deal with. But Wings is hilarious. That toxicity is why I like him, because he's annoying, because he doesn't want to put in the effort to be a little better or go on a trip. So I guess the stuff that we hate in these people, we unironically like too. So DarkSydePhil, I like him. Is he annoying and stuff? Yeah. Am I annoying? Yeah, probably a little. Is Wings annoying? Yeah, but it's very funny and entertaining.
So I don't know if you know this, but we did a 5-hour interview with DarkSydePhil, and it's kind
of I didn't. He doesn't do interviews, Craig. How did you get him to do it?
Well, so Phil was he knew me from way back in the day. I used to have this website called screwattack.com.
Okay.
And Phil was a community member on there. And then that's where he kind of got his start. And I did live events and all sorts of stuff. And he went to those live events. So when I brought back this podcast at the beginning of February, I reached out to him just to kind of be on as a guest. And then I learned about this lore that has developed over him the last 10 years or so. And then it turned into an interview. And it's kind of thought of as like the pinnacle interview. So it's 5 hours of deep DarkSydePhil lore, but we just barely scratched the surface before it stopped. And
wait, did you talk about how he's addicted to those WWE games? What did he say? Did he admit that he was addicted to it?
We got him to admit that he does play them for the first time. And that was a big part of it. Now, unfortunately, I would love to do a second part of that interview, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. The next day, we talked about the interview on the show because we didn't really have a time to like decompress. And Phil wasn't there, and he got upset the way we talked about him.
No, he didn't. He got mad. He gets so sensitive, and you're probably a fan. And like that's the thing, is he gets so mad at Keemstar because Keem said he's like stuck on level 1, which is true. He's been doing this forever. He has a big audience, but like he's because he's so buttered and so sensitive. That's why DSP can't grow.
Well, Keem actually was on our podcast with DarkSydePhil. So like, I'm telling you, if you,
I need to go back and listen. Yeah. Because I like I said, the things that annoy you, the things that annoy me about DSP, I still kind of like I think it's funny. He gets all the super chats and he just wastes it on a video game where you just buy cards. The game, he loves skill games, and he spends all his money on a game that has no skill. It's just you just pay money to play. That's all you do in the game is basically buy the best card. So, all that craziness. I do need to go and listen. I love the DarkSydePhil lore.
You will. It's the fastest 5 hours you'll ever have. And I will say this. And for the record, I would love to do a second part with Phil, and we can do it on his channel. We can do it on whatever outlet he wants to do it on. Right. But Phil has to want to do it. He thinks he thinks that we used him for super chat money. Right. And it's like, that wasn't the case at all. All we did was essentially like, we got done with the interview and he was like, oh man, that went really great. and then he got upset about us talking about it the next day. So whatever. Like I said, the invitation is always there because I think that there's so much more we didn't have an opportunity to cover.
And you know what bugs me is that Wings of Redemption and DarkSydePhil have made more money than you and me combined on the internet. Yet they're like the cheapest people now about it. I guess because when you're making like how they at one point they were probably making like hundreds of thousands of dollars on the year because they were popular at the start of this internet era, and now they've taken such a decline. So maybe that's why they're so crazy about money. But you'd have to know that DarkSydePhil streams all the time. Like you getting a couple $100 on a super chat is not going to affect his life. You know, it's not like you ripped him off by doing a show and getting a few $100 in super chat.
No.
I just don't.
It very much affects his life. It very much affected his life that we were very public about it. I think all in that stream, we made like $1,700, right?
Which is a lot of money, but YouTube takes 30%. So you're walking away with like $1,000.
Right. So after YouTube's cuts and everything like that. And look, I did like 40 hours of the research leading up to it, right? And then we split it upon everybody on the team, whatever, you know. But the point is that I hope, honestly, just for Phil's sake, that we can eventually do a second part. But I would love to get you guys in a room together. We should. Oh my God, that'd be brilliant. Brilliant.
Next time you do the interview, or we got to get him on, I'd love to get DarkSydePhil, and I would be nice. I wouldn't even be mean to him.
Right.
Like the only thing, but dude. If you take a picture of they went viral, a picture of DarkSydePhil driving. Did you see that? Like he's so walled off from the world. Just a picture of him inside of a car to his community is the biggest deal. So you're right. I guess I don't even know how to explain DarkSydePhil, but he's a cultural phenomenon. He's probably very temperamental, very hot and cold. But I think if I was just nice to him, I think I could get Phil to like me.
All right. And listen, the DSP thing, we're going to make that happen. I'm going to do my best to make it happen. Yeah. We'll see. It always comes back to, does Phil want to do it?